Hello and welcome to a bit of a different episode of Grey Matter, the series of science shorts that talks all things brain and cracks all things cranium. So today I wanted to take you away from the green screen and kind of put you in situ for the topic I wanted to talk about today, because I wanted to talk about the importance of green spaces and the brain benefits of getting outside. So throughout this talk, please just have a look around this beautiful setting and enjoy it with me while we talk about how getting outside is really good for your mental health. So more and more of us are living in cities. In fact, over half of the world's population currently lives in cities, and less of us have access to good quality green spaces. Now, living in a city does have effects on your mental health, with seeing increases in prevalence of mental health issues in people who live in cities, with people who live in cities having an increase of over 30% chance of developing anxiety disorders and over 20% chance of developing mood disorders. We also see an increase in the prevalence of psychosis in people who live in cities, with people who have grown up and live in cities being twice as likely to develop schizophrenia in their lifetime. So we can see that being in cities isn't necessarily that good for us, but what about getting outside? Well, being outside is incredibly good for our brains. And one of the main reasons is it helps to calm our brain down. A lot of us tend to do something called rumination, and this is where we overthink everything that's gone bad during our day. You know, we start thinking about what's gone bad in the past hour, what's gone bad in the last day, the last week, the last year, and then we start thinking about the embarrassing things we did 10 years ago. And linked with this kind of behaviour, we see activation and increased activity of a part of the frontal cortex called the subgenial prefrontal cortex. And we find that people who walk along busy traffic in the city tend to still show this subgenial prefrontal cortex activity and this rumination. They don't relax their brain. But people who go even just for a short walk in the countryside find that they're doing less ruminating. They report lower incidence of mental health distress. And they also show decreased activity in this subgenial prefrontal cortex. We also find that people who live in cities show increased activation of a part of the brain called the amygdala, and this is the danger sensing part of the brain. We also see the cingulate gyrus being overactivated, and the circuit between the cingulate gyrus and the amygdala is associated and activated during people invading our personal space, which is quite interesting, and it's quite hard to do that in a space like this. We also find that even just short walks in the countryside can increase your creativity, with people who've gone just for walks for just 15 minutes in a woodland area, increasing their ability to perform in a problem-solving creative task by 50%. We also find that people who live in cities who are closer to parks and green spaces show less mental distress than people who live in those cities further away from those parks and green spaces. So living near a park is really good for us, and having these built within our cities is really, really important. Or just taking a 15-minute walk through a green space on your lunch break may be doing wonders for your mental health. So that's it for this episode of Grey Matter. Let me know if you enjoyed doing something a bit different like this. Please like and subscribe and stay tuned for next time.